Welcome to the Black Duck Revival Podcast. I'm your host, Jonathan Wilkins. I'm excited to have you join me as I speak with a fascinating collection of folks, all of whom have in common that they've made a way for themselves by finding an intersection between thoughtful consideration and the tactile work of getting their hands dirty. This is an examination of intention, capability, and craft. It's where philosophy meets the blue-collar work ethic and where I find real value. Oh shit, I'm back, baby! Actually, I'm finally back with the Black Duck Revival Podcast because we have our baby now. And the first 3 weeks have been kooky and intense and a whole lot of me not being around because I had clients up at the lodge, then I was in Texas and all sorts of stuff. But we're back with the podcast. We've got some really great episodes coming up. We've got some stuff banked, so look forward to that. And thanks for bearing with me, guys. Sometimes life is hard and complicated, and you just have to prioritize your priorities. And, for the last few weeks, that has been me being at home as much as possible with my family and taking care of the kids and taking care of my wife and all that stuff. But yeah, so we have our baby boy. He was born on December 22nd. And before I introduce this episode, I'll give you a little rundown about how all that went down. So originally, the boy was supposed to be born on December 12th. He didn't come, and he still hadn't come. And we were kind of getting to the holidays, and the doctor wanted us to go ahead and go in there. So we go in there, and when did we check in? I guess like the 21st. But Marianne, again, third time in a row, did a fantastic job bringing one of our children into the world. And all that stuff, ultimately went pretty well. It was when all that funky weather was kind of ripping across the country. And so while he was being born, there was like this kind of for Little Rock, gnarly snowstorm, wind whipping around, everything. I think when we went into the hospital, it was like in the 60s. And then when I went home to put the new car seat in and come back up there, it was like in the single digits. I had to go out to the car like with a hospital blanket because I didn't have a coat on. But like I said, everything ended up good. We're starting to kind of slowly ease back into normality. But something really cool that did happen is, and maybe I don't know if I've talked about this before or not, but I know I've posted about this on Instagram. I grew up with these two brothers, Steven and Andy, and our parents still live on the same street, like 5 houses away from each other. And it was like Andy was 2, Steven was 3, my little sister Julia was 4, and I was 5. And we were like a running crew, probably until about junior high, and then my sister kind of peeled off, and just like the boys kind of kept running together. And, I was the first one to go to high school and first one to go to college. And even as our lives kind of got more disparate, like the relationship, we would not talk for 6 months at a time or however long it was till I got back to St. Louis, but it's just always been this incredibly close, like familial relationship. But anyway, the younger brother, Andy, as we got older, Andy got a degree in automotive mechanic work and started hunting. And yeah, we just had like a few more things in common, and, we would just rap and hang out and all that stuff. And so anyway, Andy battled with cancer for like 5 years, and he would like go into remission, then it would come back, and it'd go into remission, then it would come back. And that last year or so, I don't know, man, maybe like 6 months, a couple years ago, 6 months before he passed away, he called me and told me that, it was going to end up being terminal. So anyway, you might have seen this Instagram post I made. I bought his shotgun from him so I could keep hunting with his shotgun, just, as a way to think about him. And he passed away like a week and a half before my dad did. So that was like a crummy August a couple years ago. But when Marianne and I found out that we were going to have a boy, I thought it'd be cool to name the boy after Andy. So we also like family names, and my grandpa's name was Dearest Nathaniel Wilkins, which is like the Nathaniel is part of why I'm named Jonathan. So settled on Andrew Dearest Wilkins, and the original Andy Dandy, as my dad always called him, his birthday was December 22nd. And I used to always be really envious of him because Andy's mom is Jewish, his dad's Catholic, and then his birthday was right then. So, there was this week and a half period in December always where Andy got Hanukkah, and then he got birthday presents, and then he got Christmas presents. And it was just the gnarliest week and a half. And his family never did that stuff where they muted some of the celebration because they were so close together. He just got all that stuff in quick succession. Anyway, my son, Andrew, who was named after Andy Dandy, ended up being born on December 22nd. So they've got the same birthday, really cool living legacy. And yeah, I just want to share that with you. So back to what we're all here for, which is a podcast. And this week I'm joined by John Smolko, originally from Memphis, Tennessee, and now a resident of one of my kind of favorite or new favorite cities, Asheville, North Carolina. But shit, man, he's only there for a little bit every year. He's waterfowl season. He's bouncing between Mississippi and Arkansas, guiding geese and ducks. In the summertime, he's up in Alaska guiding fly fishing trips. He's also on the coast of North Carolina running fishing trips. He's an outdoor and hunting photographer. He worked for a long time for Yeti, kind of at the initiation of that brand. He's just been around for a long time, and he does a ton of different things. Really creative dude, and just kind of a guy that's got a lot of wanderlust. And I met him originally last year, just about this time, and right towards the end of January. He came out, and Trevor Stewart from Sitka was coming to hunt, and he was like, "Hey man, my buddy's going to be in town. Can he come hunt with us?" I said, "Sure." And so Smolko ended up coming and hanging out, and just ended up being a real cool guy. And so for a year, we tried to set up this podcast, and it just never really aligned until just recently. So again, we're back running with the podcast. Lots of cool stuff coming up in the coming weeks and months. And to start that kind of new session off, please listen to and enjoy this conversation with John Smolko. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Black Duck Revival podcast. This is being recorded on January 1st, the first day of 2023. Had a really awesome hunt today for geese, specks and snows, and some incidental ducks with a cool group of people. And now I am joined by John Smolko, who I've been referring to this man by the wrong last name for, almost a year, right?
Yeah, about a year.
Yeah, because it was, I guess last year we met, it was the last week of January we hunted. But anyway, so currently you're a resident of what kind of Asheville, North Carolina?
Yeah, about maybe a month and a half, a year. Keep an address there.
Originally from Memphis?
Yep, grew up in Memphis.
So just an hour from here in Brinkley. I'm up at the lodge. And then John, who's amongst other things, so he's a waterfowl guide and a fishing guide and a photographer and doing some videography work. And you were down by what? You were down by Clarendon, right?
Yep, kind of hunting over here.
Thereabout.
In the neighborhood here.
Yeah, so he was hunting East Arkansas, let's say. Maybe we'll block out what town I just said. But so you were guiding, doing some goose guiding this weekend, and it's taken a year to get you back over here to record a podcast. But I'm glad it's happened finally. And we've been sitting here drinking beers and just kind of taking a breath after having clients and responsibilities and the wear and tear that hunting and getting up early and all that stuff can have on you. But Tell everybody what your plan is, because you got like a cool week coming up, man. You're like heading back to Memphis, and then you're bebopping all over the place.
Yeah, big week coming up. Headed back to Memphis this evening, and then cleaning up all my gear. Headed over to Dallas for Dallas Safari Club for a day to talk to some folks about some stuff I'm working on. Come back to Memphis, and I'll come back over here to Arkansas to hunt next weekend, and then headed to Costa Rica for a week to film and fish a marlin tournament.
What a terrible life you lead. And then earlier this year, when did you get back from Alaska? Because you're up there guiding fish trips, right?
Yeah, I'm usually up there about June to mid-September, mostly guiding fishing trips and a few waterfowl hunts towards the end of the year.
Are you doing any fish or guiding for fish in Carolina at all? Or
Yep, I do striped bass in the spring in the eastern part of the state, and in the fall I do false albacore and the big redfish.
Are you do that kind of stuff like off a skiff, or how does that work?
For the stripers, I've got a little 16-foot jet boat, which is kind of cool. They've become more popular where I guide, but allows me to get away from some of the crowds in the river over there. And then down at the beach, I'm running a 23-foot center console boat. It's near shore, maybe up to 4 or 5 miles, maybe 10 offshore.
Man, you just said jet boat. So this dude that was here hunting, like, just left a few hours ago. I'll give him a plug. His name's Jim Schultz. He is he's like a semi-retired metal worker and fabricator. And we were driving out to the field today and talking about what he does. And he said, I'm kind of semi-retired, did metal work for a long time. He's like, and it's kind of like the last couple of years, I've kind of developed this like sort of invention thing. I was like, really, what is it, man? And it's it's like an improved grate for a jet propulsion system, not propulsion, a jet motor on a boat. Mm-hmm. Like it'll suck up gunk and rocks and whatever and can bust it up. Well, this is like an adjustable louvered grate that, like, up on the console, it's got like a lever, so when you get stuff stuck in there, you can just pop it in neutral, open it, close it, shake everything out, and then keep going.
Interesting.
It's pretty neat, dude.
They're fun. I spent a lot of time behind the tiller of a jet boat between that and Alaska.
Do you think you could ever run a jet boat in timber like around here? You think it would just be clogged up constantly?
Nah, leaves. Too many leaves.
Yeah.
It wouldn't work.
I wonder if this invention could correct that. We might change the face of timber hunting.
Yeah. I mean, we can stay up on top and almost no water in them things. So
I mean, like inches, right?
Oh yeah, it's weird. So when you're going over a gravel bar or something, we can go. It can't go forever, but for short distances, we can drive those boats in about 3 inches of water.
Wow!
And so what happens is the boat acts as a wedge. If you think of the bottom of the river as being flat, the boat is a wedge. And so as it's running, it's forcing all that water under the hull. And so as it goes towards from the bow, the front to the stern, the back of the boat, that water is getting compressed. Well, eventually you're forcing more water into the back of the boat than it can actually fit there in that space. Mm-hmm. And so you keep forcing water in there, and you'll actually feel the back of the boat lift up.
Is it kind of like hydroplane, or?
Not really.
It's like riding on a cushion of air sort of thing?
No, it's not air. It's water. It's as you continue to force water underneath the back of the boat, it'll actually pick the back of the boat up. That's
pretty wild, man.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
But, I mean, that's like, most of the time people are running that on, like, shallow
rocky, gravelly, sandy bottom. Yeah, not so good with leaves and everything else.
And acorns and whatever else people throw off the bridge here in Arkansas. Yeah. So look, man, Lindsay Davis.
Yep.
Lindsay Brown Davis, who was on this podcast almost exactly a year ago, because I was in Utah last January, the first week of January last year. You know her from back in the day because you guys used to travel around and do events for Yeti, correct?
Yeah, we go quite a few years back. That's almost 10 years ago now. But some of the first people that Yeti hired back when they only had the coolers in 2 colors, and they had just come out with the cups, and we're about to launch the soft-sided cooler. So way back in the day for Yeti, Lindsay and I and some other people, they hired us to go take the show on the road. The first tour, we also had, I think, Sims and Sitka Gear with us too, and so that's how I got hooked up with those guys also. But it was fun. They put us in a truck and trailer and said, here's all the shows and events you need to be at, and we do everything from fishing tournaments to outdoor expos, overland expos, rodeos, all kinds of fun stuff.
And this is like when they're still trying to get the public familiar with Yeti?
Yep. So at this point, I guess the rocket has just left the launch pad, and it's just blowing up faster than anybody can handle. So it was a real fun time to be a part of it.
And so then you moved from, okay, so let's back up a little bit. So you grew up in Memphis, right?
Yep.
And remind me exactly, your dad was like kind of like a high up in DU, right?
Yeah, he was instrumental in moving the world headquarters down here.
Okay.
So I was born in D.C. My dad was in a hunting club up on the Eastern Shore of Maryland with a guy by the name of Jim Range, who was my godfather, who was one of the founders of TRCP. And Jim helped my dad get a job working with Ducks Unlimited, and then we got moved from there, I guess, to Chicago for a year. And then when I was 3, we moved down here when they built the world headquarters.
Okay. So, like, your dad, before y'all were here kind of in this southern epicenter of waterfowling, your dad was a longtime waterfowler. So you've been involved in it, I would imagine.
Yeah, there's a
forever.
great photo my dad has of me. He's holding me on the duck boat with our yellow lab julep. I'm about exactly a year old, and he's holding me in the duck boat with the dog.
Yeah, so like born into it, right?
Yeah.
And so then you grow up hunting, around Memphis and into Mississippi?
Grew up hunting there. Back when hunting over this far west into Arkansas from Memphis, you were a long way off.
Where you guys weren't bumping?
I hunted
over
a lot in Mississippi down around Tunica, and then we'd do more on the St. Francis. Like, I guess you consider this Eastern Arkansas. We kind of consider this closer to Central Arkansas.
Oh, okay.
Like Eastern Arkansas for us is more like St. Francis, Langille, like all those rivers. So we hunted up more over in that direction growing up. Okay,
so you're kind of already, you've got a familial relationship with, quote unquote, hunting, but let's say quote unquote the outdoor industry, right? Like starting with that, right? And then as a younger man, you're living the high life, traveling the country with these roto-molded coolers. And so you've had your own kind of waterfowl outfits. You've worked for some other folks doing it. Now you're like up in Alaska, right? And you're guiding. Yep. Is that mostly fly fishing up there?
Yeah, mostly fly fishing. We do all kinds of some spin fishing, some bait fishing, but most of the people that come up there want to fly fish.
And so would you be doing that? Would you be targeting trout or?
Trout, salmon, Arctic grayling, dolly varden, Arctic chars, lake trout, northern pike, all kinds of. There's a lot of different species that we kind of go after. All 5 species of Pacific salmon.
What sort of bodies of water? Are this like lakes or rivers, or what are you doing?
Lakes, mostly lakes and rivers, and some near coastal. Like one of the rivers we fish, our approach to land on it is over the ocean, so it's in a tidal estuary.
Okay, so you're like going in places on a float plane and stuff.
Oh yeah,
then.
Yep. So we'll go camp out at the woods and then fly people to our guides that live out in the woods, or I mostly now guide out of the lodge. So I either take a boat from the lodge or hop on a plane every day.
Okay, but so you're not flying the plane too, are you?
No.
Okay.
No.
And you even encountered on your fishing travels. You encountered Gary Kramer.
Yep. Gary came up and fished with him in Alaska.
Yeah, renowned waterfowl and wildlife photographer. And you can hear more of my conversation with Gary by going to an earlier episode of this podcast. He sat exactly where you're sitting, man. My mom was supposed to go. My mom had been wanting to go to Africa for just kind of like as a bucket list trip, right? And so her and my wife, Marianne, had set up this February, like a year ago, this February, they were going to go to Africa on this photo safari, right? And so after Gary does that, like Gary leads like 2 trips a year to Africa for these photo safaris. So I put them together, right? My mom has set everything up, and then we got pregnant, and we knew the kid was coming in December, and so she had to call Gary and be like, "Man, I can't come this year." But hopefully next year they'll be in Tanzania. You're going to be in Africa. When are you going to be in Africa?
Hopefully this May, I'll be going over there. So yeah, busy year this year with Costa Rica, Africa, and Alaska.
Yeah, man.
All before June.
Bebopping everywhere.
Yeah.
And then so back to the Alaska stuff. And then so when your season's kind of wrapping up there in September, that's like the very beginning of waterfowl season up there?
Yep. The last kind of 3 weeks the lodge is open usually is waterfowl season up there. I keep hoping that I'll draw one of these emperor goose tags and get to hang around for a little while afterwards. But no, we shoot up there. It's all mostly the same ducks we shoot here: puddle ducks, mallards, pintails, widgeons, gabwalls, speckled belly geese. Just
none of them plumed out?
Just they're all brown.
Yeah. Does that take anything out of it for you? Like, is it a B plus instead of an A plus when they're not like green headed and
not
sprigged
really?
out?
It's surprisingly where we are. It's tell people it's the easiest place and the hardest place to hunt at the same time, because there's endless pockets of pothole water. There's these huge lakes they can go in. There's rivers. There's endless places where they can be if they want to be. So you really got to do your homework. If you get to where they want to be, you can throw out 3 decoys and you don't even have to touch a call. And they'll just come do it first time. So it's really fun to watch because there's no hesitation. They don't really work. They just see you from a mile away and just lock it up.
Man, I bet you get a high propensity of young first-year birds doing that too, man.
Yeah.
Like they've never seen anything. Yeah, that would be cool, man.
But yeah, it's a lot of scouting and a lot of work on that end.
How do you scout from a plane? How do you do that?
No, we usually hunt out of the lodge unless we're down at the coast, and then that's tidal. It's when those birds move in and out of that mud flat. But around the lodge, it's a lot of scouting by boat. If I'm flying back, I might look and just see where they are that afternoon. But they move so much, it's better to try and get them. So usually the night before something, or I'll talk to the other guides that were guiding the lake and say, "Hey, did you see any ducks today? And where were they?" And try and make a plan. We've got some different sloughs and creeks and pockets of water on the lake that we hunt. It's usually all within there. So it's fun. Do cast and blast, do that in the morning, and then hang out around there and catch giant fish in the afternoon.
Man, that emperor goose. So a buddy of mine I was hunting with yesterday, he, I think it was like September. He was up in Alaska, right? Like they like fished and hunted ducks, early season ducks for Alaska, and then he killed a caribou. It just like came back raving. I killed like harlequin ducks and just like came back raving about it. This really cool experience. But he was talking about that emperor goose tag, and it's like, I think there's like something like 25 tags a year. It's like very, very
small population. It was closed season on them for 30 plus years, and the last, I think they started in 17. They give out 25 non-resident tags a year, and there's a quote on them. So if the quote is met, even if you have a tag in your hand, it's no good.
So there's 25 tags, but there's less
non-resident. You can get an over-the-counter tag if you're a resident,
but
you're still limited to one bird.
You know, I'm going to be totally honest with you. I'm pulled my phone up because I'm going to Google it. I don't know what an emperor goose looks like.
I have a picture of one, actually. So in eastern North Carolina, in the town of Scotland Neck, there's a bird park. Surprised Gary didn't tell you about that. And they have them there. They have pretty much every waterfowl in the world. It's about 30 minutes from where I do the striper trips. Kind of funny story about that. I was over there, and me and a couple other guides, we went turkey hunting that morning because we didn't have trips, and we ended up shooting a bird.
Wait, tell me again, this is where?
Eastern North Carolina.
Okay.
And so none of us had fishing trips that morning, so we went and turkey hunted at one of our buddies' places, and got a bird real early at like 6:10 in the morning, right off the limb. And he's like, "Well, do you want to go to the bird park?" And I've been over there all my life, and I've never heard of this bird park. He's like, "It's the coolest thing ever." So we go over to this bird park, and of course, all of us are still head to toe in our turkey hunting camo, walking around this bird park. But it's pretty impressive. They've got an exhibit that's North America and South America, and then one with the emperor geese, and just crazy amount of birds over there.
Did you get like weird looks from people thinking you were there to get a little something for the barbecue?
Yeah, it was interesting. Luckily, it wasn't too crowded. I think it was like middle of the week, but that's funny. It was definitely funny walking in there.
I should go to the zoo wearing a bunch of camo sometime. So look, just so folks, if they haven't seen them, if they're like me and they haven't seen them, so there's like a really pretty bird. I'm kind of struck. So it's kind of got like a slate gray body with these like pretty black tips with like black and white tips. White head. Do you know what an ombre color scheme on a hair dye is? I had it explained to me once. It's kind of like that fade, like from dark to light or whatever. And that's kind of what underneath its chin, it's just like jet black, and then it kind of opens up to this variegated, and it's got a white head. It doesn't look just incredibly dissimilar to like a eaglehead.
Yeah, like a blue goose that hasn't quite finished molting all the way.
I mean, I'm looking at a mounted one over there, like maybe one of those interphase ones or whatever. Yeah. But yeah, it's real pretty, man. Ooh, this one has a band on it in this picture. I think it's also behind a chain link fence. But
maybe at the bird park.
Hey, it might be. But so that's kind of like a bucket list bird for you, you think?
Yeah. Yeah, that would be a big one.
So like for you in particular, what's the appeal of that? Just the scarcity of it?
Yeah, it's the adventure of it too. Hunting them down on the Aleutians. And doing that, and just it's once of a lifetime kind of thing.
Are you hunting them on freshwater or in the ocean?
I think mostly I've got a friend out in way western Alaska, and they see them from time to time on some ponds and stuff. But most of the hunting's done is rocky coastal.
Oh, like those little
saltwater type stuff.
So there was another guy, this guy Gene, that was hunting with us this weekend. We were talking about that. So my buddy Jordan that had been up in Alaska, and he killed those harlequin ducks and whatever. Those are sea ducks, right? So we're asking him, I was like, man, were you in those little boats just bobbing around? And he was like, yeah, dude. And Gene and I were both like, dude, I'd be seasick. Just if I think about that, I get kind of nauseated, right? But those rock outcroppings, I've kind of got this image in my head, man. Like, I just want wind blowing and like frozen rain and shit, and I'm just like out there hunkered down, and then they come in and boom. You don't want that?
Yeah, it's a brutal place to be when it's like that up there.
I'll bet. No, yeah, I want it to be brutal,
but it makes for some good stories and quite the experience.
I've got this thing in my head, man, where I want to do this like hard, cold, blustery backcountry duck hunt to where like, you got to hike 10 miles into it and then huddle up in a tent at night to stay warm. And I think that would be, if
find a pocket of water out west that's got a hot spring that you got to hike way into or something that.
There's like there's a degree of, there's a reward that comes with a certain amount of suck factor, Like, I'm not saying I want all my duck hunts to be like that. Yeah. Like, today was ridiculous, right? Yeah. Like, today was like 65. Yeah. First day of the year, 65, bluebird.
Yeah, and it was negative temperatures a week ago.
Yeah. And shit, yesterday, man, I could barely see anything. It was so foggy. Like we were talking about, it was like hunting in a cloud. But I mean, I was swatting mosquitoes. There were buffalo gnats out yesterday. I was like, this is insane.
Yeah.
But it's nice to have that sometimes because you can stay out there without the like endurance factor.
Yep.
You know, like we were eating breakfast burritos in the blind, and I had like a big thermos of coffee, and it was comfortable. Like, you know,
being comfortable is everything.
Yeah.
Especially when you're hunting with people that don't do it all that often.
Yeah. So then you're down here. You're doing this waterfowl guiding down here. You're bouncing over to Costa Rica, right? You're putting the moves together for, like we said, possibly doing an Africa trip.
Yep.
Which would be like a multi-tiered thing, right? Like you can do some hunting, you do some conservation work, like possibly even like collaring lions. Like that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, honestly, dude, it sounds like, and you just said to yourself, like you're back home so you got a house in Asheville. You're there like a month and a half a year, man.
Yeah. That's my vacation spot.
Is that you just like that's like your little in between time? You can just go there and relax.
I go home. I hardly ever fish there anymore. I just go home and hang out and see my friends and maybe do some whitewater kayaking and rafting and just kind of use it as my space to hang out, have fun. So,
you ever go to that place in Asheville, Whole Donuts?
Haven't been to that one.
Dude, that place is amazing. This lady does I can't remember what street it's on. It's right down the street from my buddy. This is weird, dude. It's like 7 degrees of separation from Kevin Bacon. All these people that I'm thinking of have been on this podcast.
I know all these same people.
My buddy Thomas, who helped me build that big smoker out there, lives in Asheville. It's like a half a block down the street from his shop. And this lady does, it's like she only does 3 kinds of donuts, and then she alternates like a donut of the week or something. And they're like super artisan, like they're kind of lumpy looking and like hand shaped. Good God. I mean,
have to check that out.
You ever eat like a Shipley's donut in Little Rock or anything?
Mm-mm. I haven't spent much time in Little Rock, but the big one in Memphis is Gibson's.
Okay. So, I mean, look, and I love a hot donut from anywhere, right? But this is like on a completely different
like
level.
Kind of non-traditional.
Well, have you ever had have you ever been in like New York or something and had like a real deal, legit, just top shelf bagel? Just like crusty on the outside, steamy, warm inside, soft and chewy, and just like what a bagel's supposed to be.
Yep.
And then you buy one of these like Linder's pieces of crap from the Walmart frozen section. Mm-hmm. It's like that, man. Like it's an insult to call whatever that junk Duncan is making. Yeah. And this the same thing. But yeah, next time you go home, we'll be there for 3 days.
I finally get to go home in February, the first time since before Thanksgiving. So
how long you get to hang out for?
Be home mostly in February. Most of February, March. I've got pretty light February. I'll be at NWTF show. I don't know if you're going to be.
I think I will go this year.
Yeah. So I'll be at NWTF, and then in March, I've got a Keys trip to go tarpon fishing down there, and then I'm supposed to stop by Florida Outdoor Experience and do some Osceola hunting.
Oh, March. Are you? Oh, that's dope, dude.
Yep, hang out down there again with those guys, and then.
Have you killed one of those before?
I have not killed one myself. I've been there photographing when people have killed them.
They're kind of like little turkeys, aren't they?
They're a little bit smaller, but I mean, maybe their average size is small, but they're not as small as you. I was under the impression that they were considerably smaller than an Eastern, but
not that
they're
much.
not that much smaller.
Okay. Yeah, that's dope, dude. That's
so.
Man, we're going so many different places. Where are you at? So I know you're like a big turkey hunter. Where are you at as far as species on turkeys?
I've just killed Easterns.
Okay.
Yep.
Have you ever hunted west of the Mississippi?
Nope, never have.
Dude.
So I was always growing up, go down and hunt them in Mississippi or West Tennessee. And now we've got a place in East Tennessee and hunt them in North Carolina in the eastern part of the state more than the western part of the state. But that's pretty much the extent of my turkey hunting.
Dude, I think if you went and hunted Rios, man, you'd be like...
I want to. It's finding the time to do it is the hard thing for me.
No, I get it, dude, but, man, very different than Easterns. Easterns are persnickety, man. Those Rios, seem like they don't really care, man. Like, they'll give it up, man. Yeah. It's kind of like we were talking about, like, when you're on the X, when you're goose hunting, you know, like, you can, to someone that doesn't know, you can seem a lot better than you really are just because of the scenario, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure someone's listening to this and be like, man, all I hunt is Rios, man, and they're hard to hunt. Yeah. But just from my experiences and from everything that people that are much more experienced turkey hunters have told me is, like, there's no comparison to hunting a Rio and where are the Rios? Like a Rio in Kansas or a Rio like way out west, like an introduced one in Oregon compared to like some Eastern down in Alabama or Mississippi. You know, that's got all these good old boys chasing after him all the time.
Yeah, all the time.
That's cool, dude, man. So if you go do that, dude, like you'll have like one of the hardest to get a hold of turkeys under your belt then.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So I'd like to get that one done, and then
do you aspire to like get a super slam or a grand slam or any of that stuff?
No, I'm not that enthralled with any like one thing. Like the same with fishing. Like I'm not really interested in any kind of world records or line class records or anything like that. You know, for me, it's okay. I caught a permit on fly. That's cool. I caught a big tarpon. I've caught. You know, it doesn't matter if I shoot, a Rio this year, 10 years from now. It's like, yeah, it's on the list, but my goal is not to shoot a grand slam in a year or anything like that. I've got too many different interests and too many different directions. My head's kind of always zooming.
Man, let's segue into talking about the photography.
Yep.
So, I mean, how much of your interest lies in that, or like the focus of your attention? Is it like funneling more and more towards that, or is that something you do as happenstance, or how does it work out?
Yeah, it's getting there. I did quite a bit of it. It started as happenstance mostly, like when Lindsay and I were traveling around. So at that time, 25 years old, getting to go all these cool places, guiding in Alaska, doing all this crazy stuff, and it's like, well, I need to start taking pictures of this. And at the time, I was running around with some other industry photographers, and they helped me get straight on what camera to buy, and then started taking pictures and got better at it and got a better camera, and then kind of used some of the connections I'd made through the industry to start shooting for some folks. And now it's kind of part of my repertoire of things that I do every year, and mostly it's a lot of spec stuff, and I do it as I'm doing these other things more so than we'll go on shoots and whatever else. I get a lot of unique opportunities to do things that are kind of off the wall and photograph it, and I'll submit those images, and sometimes people like them and buy them.
Are you writing any articles or anything to go with them?
I've done some stuff. I had a couple. There's an outdoor magazine called Strung Magazine.
Oh yeah, man! You had something in Strung, didn't you?
Yeah, I did one this past year on float planes, and then last year I did one on snow geese.
Okay.
Kind of photo essays. And there I've done some articles and a lot of photography work for Southern Culture on the Fly magazine over the years, which is digital. Done some online blog work for Duck Camp and different other brands. And
yeah, man, that's Strung, man. That's a really well put together.
Yeah, it's a really nice,
man.
Yeah, paper quality, the print quality, everything gets the writing in there's good, and the images are.
Who's the guy? What's the guy's name that like runs it?
I think he just left. I don't know what he's doing now. I need to connect with him.
Oh, okay, yeah, man. No, but yeah. Okay, so now I'm gonna do the Kevin Bacon game again. Jay Beyer. Do you know Jay?
I have never met Jay.
but floated around them for years.
We've kind of floated around each other for probably the last 10 years or so.
Yeah. So Jay Byers is a phenomenal outdoor photographer. Works a lot with Sitka. Has worked a lot with Yeti, Patagonia and stuff. I mean, it's like true talk. Like the reason Lindsay and me are both with Sitka is because of Jay got us in. But Jay did about a year ago. Jay did an article and a photo essay for Strung too, man. Mm-hmm. And yeah, man, just really that makes you a heavy hitter, dude. You know, like
I don't know about that.
Because I work with Mary, my wife is a photographer, and because I feel like I can sell a lot more articles because I can be like, I can get the photography.
It definitely helps.
But
and what's crazy
is
having done both. For the writing is the harder part for me, at least.
Sure.
Than the photography, but
it's hard for me, man. Well, you know what it is, dude. Is like there's a photography. This is my observation, but photography is as much of someone's self that they bring to it. There's an element of documentation to it that takes a bit of the onus off of you, maybe. But like when you're writing, when it's like no words and you have to come up with every word, it feels very exposing, you know. And it's especially when I started making a couple books, writing some articles, man, it was tortuous because I just you feel like you're making something that's it's like shining a light on.
You critique yourself almost too hard and
forever.
It's like, people think that, it's then you go back and change this, and then you change it back to what you'd written before. And, you go through these weird creative periods where you can sit down and hammer something out in 15 minutes, and other times it takes you 3 hours to get 2 sentences.
Oh, man, I suffer, man. If the suck factor in writing has anything to do with the quality of it, then I'm like Dostoevsky at this point, because I like make it as hard as possible on myself. So now you're a gentleman, what, in your mid-30s?
Yeah, I will turn 34 in 4 weeks.
Okay, so 34, man. Still staving off middle-aged.
Yep.
But
I got some aches and pains that might tell you otherwise.
Dude, it'll add up, man. But so you're living a life that involves a lot of adventure, a lot of interacting with like cool, interesting people, right? Mm-hmm. In some ways similar to what I get to do, but like you're dealing with like much more far-flung adventure, right? Like to the corners of the earth, right? And in the air and on the water and in amongst the trees, right? And so this is an incredibly broad question, but like, to what end? What if we're all searching for something, what is this an exploration of for you? I mean, and you can't. Here's a caveat: you can't give me the cop-out answer of like it's fun.
Oh,
like,
no!
Obviously, it's fun, but
I've always been a very curious, interested person, and I'm very quick to say yes to do anything. Like I want to learn how to do everything. Mm-hmm. Like want to learn how to woodwork. Well, I've worked on a framing crew and finished carpenter for a little while. When my dad left Ducks Unlimited, he started Polaris Shop, so I grew up working on small engines and can do a lot of mechanic stuff. And then my neighbor up in Asheville is a fabricator for NASCAR teams, and he taught me how to weld. And so I'm a very curious person. I want to learn how to do everything. I want to experience everything. We're kind of given this short window of time, and I don't think you're never going to get to do everything you want to do. But I wake up every day trying to jam-pack my day full of things that will make it fulfilling, and I want to experience as many different things as I can in the time that I've been given. Yeah.
I mean, so I think that's a sentiment, that I mean, like Marcus Aurelius, you know, and like the father of Stoicism, like he talks about that, you know, that idea of like get busy living or get busy dying, right? But you know what I find myself wondering about is, and I kind of relate it to some of my own experiences, you know, so kind of everything I've done in my adult life, it kind of compounds on itself, right? You know, so like I play music.
Yep.
And so because I'm playing music and I'm trying to like go on the road and stuff, I have to work these jobs that I can quit or get off or whatever, right? So like I cook in restaurants or I work construction and I learn how to build things and I learn how to prepare food, and then that stacks on itself. And I'm like, you're telling stories with songs. You're kind of telling stories with food, right? And then I get this place and blah, 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 all that stuff, right?
And you meet more people who are trying to do the same thing with interesting things, and you have these kind of creative moments and work together and experience new things, and then that leads your curiosity to different directions, and it just kind of keeps snowballing.
Well, you know what I wonder about with you, man, is so I know that for one of the big motivations for me personally is an idea of I used to refer to it as like self-determination, and now I think I might lean more towards an idea of like self-sufficiency. But you know, if you like understand small engine repair, right? Or I mean, a Polaris, that's not a small engine, that's fuel injected, right?
Now back when like growing up in the Polaris shop, I never got the new ATV. There was always one in the back that was junk that was scrapped for parts. And then occasionally we get two back there, and
you could rob off of one.
Dad would be like, you can have it. That'd be, 11 years old. And he's like, that one's got a blown up motor that needs to be rebuilt, and then you can rob the parts off the other one. He's like, you can have a 4-wheeler, but you're going to build it.
Sure.
So I'm 12 years old ripping apart jet ski engines and putting them back together, working on Saturdays in high school, making a few dollars for them and learning how to do all this stuff.
Yeah. So, okay, so you're dealing with dealing with carbureted stuff, right?
Carbureted, fuel injected, but I mean, learning those skills and learn how to do woodworking and whatever else, having those skills. So when I decided, I went to University of Tennessee and got an engineering degree.
Oh, okay.
And then was guiding fishing trips in the summer in college. And then when I was done with that, it's like, well, I want one more summer of fishing, so I went to Alaska. But to make that leap, having these things, kind of skills in your back pocket, to where it's like, well, if this doesn't work out, or I get on hard times, or I got to go 3 months, it's like I have this skill that I can find a job easily doing to make ends meet.
Yeah, you know what? You know who Hal Herring is?
Mm-hmm.
Hal Herring told me, we were kind of talking about this idea, and he was like, see if I'll do my Hal Herring impersonation. It makes you starve proof.
Yeah.
No, you can keep yourself going. Or I mean, shit, like knowing that if you had to drive from Memphis, Tennessee up to the northern point of Alaska, and inevitably some shit's going to go awry, right?
Yep.
That you have the capability to, if not know exactly what to do, you can figure it out.
Yep.
Right? And that
is a huge part of, like you said, like up in Alaska, I do every day. We get flown and dropped off 30 miles from the next closest human, or places where you would never be able to get yourself out there. And if the engine messes up, well, you got to figure out how to get it back to the plane.
Sure. Well, you know what it does too is that you're dealing with something that's like very cyclical, and everything's feeding, like all these estuaries are feeding itself, because building that idea of self-sufficiency and just figuring out how to work through stuff, even if you don't know, like knowing that you can figure it out, that allows you to go further and further outside of your comfort zone, right? So I think there's a lot of people that, they're afraid to travel in whatever capacity it is. Maybe it's just outside the state they're in, or maybe it's to the other side of the country or whatever, because of all the things that could happen. Like, what if this goes wrong, or what if this goes wrong? And like one of my, me driving around in the van and hunting and stuff, man, is like, that's the best thing. 'Cause if something goes wrong with the van, like, I mean, I'm not a mechanic, but I can figure out basic stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
They didn't break down on you when you were out west earlier?
Oh, just a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, just barely. I mean, I had to put a shock back on.
Yeah.
But, hell, man,
No, but like you said, stuff like that. And then, you get a phone call and it's like, hey, do you want to go drive a truck around the country for Yeti? And it's like, well,
sure.
Yeah, if we got a flat tire or we get something and we're in the middle of West Texas.
Yeah. Man,
I can deal with it.
Dude, that's a sorry thing, dude. There's a lot of people that couldn't change a tire on their car.
So
that's man. That
now all those skills have served me well over the years. Everywhere I've gone.
Is there, and I kind of suspect you don't have something definitive, but is there some? Is there a pinnacle for you to reach, or is the goal just to constantly be churning and adding to the repertoire?
I think probably that. I've never been able to work a normal job that easily, because in about 3 months I've already outlearned my job and I'm ready for the next thing. And so that's why the seasonal thing really works for me, because by the time we get here to the end of duck season, the last thing I want to do is go duck hunting again.
Sure.
I'm already thinking about taking a break or going turkey hunting or tarpon fishing.
I'm starting to think about turkey.
Yeah, I'm starting to think about the next thing. And when I'm done with turkey hunting, I'm like, the last thing I want to do is turkey hunting. I'm ready to go striper fishing. And then I go do that, and it's like, okay, I'm ready to do the next thing. So as far as the end game goes, there's just so many places to explore and see, and that it's just trying to experience as much as I can.
Man, and it's like, what a hell of a life to live too, right? Like, so many.
Yeah, I've been very fortunate, and it's just all about saying yes to opportunities, because you never know who you're going to meet along the way and what doors that's going to open. And
yeah. I mean, and to see the bigness of the world, and to interact with people that are very different than you. Yeah, I think that, man, that's something that's worth focusing on. So,
Yeah, I was very fortunate. My parents growing up, we never had the, we did okay. We were, normal middle class family, but we would never have. I would never have, whatever the popular stuff was at the time, the New Balance shoes or the North Face backpack or whatever else. Mm-hmm. They saved that money, and we would go on trips.
Yeah.
And we would go to back to DC to visit friends and do cool stuff there. We'd go to New York City, or we'd go places. My dad took us to the Smoky Mountains, when I was 10 years old, and went whitewater rafting for the first time back then. So they were very experience focused. Mm-hmm. And I think that paired with both of them eventually starting their own businesses and being very, very successful at that. I just grew up knowing what the workload was to be successful at doing something that you want to do.
So you've been describing this. Okay, wait, let me back up real quick. Put a pin in that. So what we were just talking about is something that I think is worth emphasizing again for folks. Is that, like, saying yes to stuff? Like not letting. I'm not saying don't ever be informed by fear, because sometimes fear can keep you alive. Right. But, like, don't let the fear of uncertainty stop you, and give yourself.
Or it could be, you feel tired that night, and you got somebody that wants to go have dinner with you, and rather than being like, oh no, I'm too tired or whatever, just sucking it up and being like, yeah, let's go.
Sure.
Because you might meet somebody out that might change your life.
But I think that, like, knowing how to do stuff too, man, that helps with that as well, because I feel like I've gotten to a point. I think maybe 10 years ago I wouldn't have been comfortable driving around in a van, like, way out west, with, like, a gun in the truck and, like, just going to the woods, whatever, blah, blah. But there's not, like, a whole bunch of shit that I don't feel like I can get myself out of. Like, if whatever's going wrong, like, I feel like I can extricate myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like I've always.
But you got to know your limits.
Yeah.
And be aware of that, but
Yeah.
also be willing to know when you can push it
Well,
just
yeah.
a little bit. And,
Yeah,
I got myself into trouble, but it's not so much trouble that I
then
can't
your limit,
get myself out
your
of.
limit changes, right?
Right.
Like
and then you push
you
that.
extend yourself
You
a little
continue
bit.
to push that further and further and further.
So back to the point I put a pin in, man. You reference this with your parents. You have this familial history, like entrepreneurship, right? You're, rampant entrepreneurship with what you're doing now. Do you feel like do you have an inclination to like bucket oversight or authority or someone telling you what to do and how to do it?
Yeah, it's kind of always have questioned authority to some degree in my life, especially when it came to rules, even in middle school. And it just asking, why is that rule there? So not even sometimes being like, oh yeah, like F the man or whatever, but sometimes it's
just
like
out of curiosity.
Just out of curiosity. It's
Yeah.
like, well, why do we have that rule? Why is that a rule? And people, a lot of times don't know, and they can't give you a straight answer. It's like, well, then why?
Yeah, never thought about it.
Yeah, if you can't, validate why this is here, then why should I be inclined to follow along with it? And so being able to kind of push those boundaries and think outside the box and really think about why you're doing things and the intent behind some of them.
Man, my oldest daughter, who's 5, it's just like she's kind of innately intelligent, just like rampantly curious, constantly asking why. Why is this? Why do I have to do this? And like I'm 3 people's parent. Like I'm doing whatever shit, man. I got to feed these people. I got to all the responsibilities. And sometimes I have found myself, like, why did I do that? I said, I would bet you I've said this less than 5 times, like, because I said so, right? And I've always felt like such an asshole when I said that. Mm-hmm. And it's always been brought on by just utter exhaustion, physical or mental. Yeah. But that's not a good answer.
Sometimes it is hard to kind of explain necessarily the reasons, and there's been times in my life where looking back, I probably did push it too far and whatever else, because I'll grow up and wise up and be like, oh, that's why they told me not to do that or to do this. And it took me a while, but I've never been afraid to kind of push the limits a little bit.
Man, and that's that's an uncomfortable place for a lot of people, because people want certainty, right? And there is a safety and security I feel like for most people, in just the known and the expected, and being willing to ask why a lot, or even just quietly to yourself, like try and analyze why this is the way it is. It necessitates that you're willing to put yourself in an uncomfortable situation, right? Like, even if it's just slightly ill at ease. It's why, like, however shitty wherever you live is, right? Like, I've had some like shitty places I've lived, like, as an adult, right? Like, didn't have any money and was blah blah blah. But no matter how shitty it is, like, there's always like a comfort and security to like get back to it.
Yeah.
Even if it's a place you like would never really want to be, but you just like, it. There's nothing weird about it. Like, you just know what to expect. And there's something wonderful and comforting about that in many ways. But I do feel like it's oftentimes for folks, it's like a stagnating force, right? And
the longer you're in that comfort zone, the harder it is to leave it.
Yeah, and then you don't even realize you're in it,
Yeah. What's the is it one of Newton's laws? The object that is in motion tends to stay in motion. An object at rest tends to stay at rest.
Yeah. You know, it sounds like to me too, and I think this word often has a kind of negative connotation, but I don't think it necessarily needs to be. But you know, it seems like you kind of you have a perpetual sense of angst, right? Like that has to be quelled by like seeing what's over the next like ridgetop, right? Do you ever find that to be like unsettling, or do you ever wish that you could be a little bit more comfortable, like being in one place for a longer time?
I think, you know, as the years go on, back when we were doing all the events, I'd be gone 330, 340 days a year on the road.
Oh, wow.
Like a lot. And so now I'm trying to, there was a stretch in there where if you take out Alaska, which is 3.5 months, I was not in the same place for more than about 12 days in a row for over 2 years.
Oh, man.
So I've come a long way from that. And now I tend to do, 6 or 7 different things with maybe another small trips. It's not so much go here 2 days, go here 2 days. So as I get older, it's definitely slowing down. But I'm trying to do more meaningful short-term things, and then have these smaller kind of adventures, and then come back home. That's kind of where I'd like to eventually spend more time slowing down.
And dude, Asheville's a rad place to have.
There's
a home
so much
base,
stuff
man.
to do there that I don't even ever get to do.
That's one of the things that has allowed me. I can like traveling, having that van, like having this little hermit crab like little shell, right? That I can always just crawl in the back and go to sleep wherever I'm at. That's like enough of the going home for a while. I mean, I want to be clear. I miss my wife and my children and stuff when I'm gone, but like having just like a little spot to myself, it's what makes it cool to like go stay at like my buddy's place for a week, but every night I'm in my own space. They can walk around in their house in their underwear or whatever and not have to worry about me. And I'll just be like, hey, dude, I'll meet you for coffee in the morning. Part of it, too, is
and then when you do get home, you want to spend the quality time at home.
Yeah,
you're not distracted by other things.
Then I'm just at home.
When you're home, you just want to be doing that. And then after a little while, you're ready to go again. But, even when I go home, it's like, I want to go see these people. I want to go paddle this. I want to make the most of my time at home.
Yeah,
I can imagine it's probably the same.
You're still
with
living
your
like
kids.
intensely and intentionally, right? Yeah. It's people ask me all the time, like, man, how do you? They're always asking me, like, dude, your wife doesn't care that you're gone. Your wife doesn't ever get mad at you. And yes, my wife does get mad at me sometimes when I'm gone, and she's at home with the kids, and having little kids is frustrating, and having them by yourself and no one to help out is hard, right? I think that one of the factors that has allowed me, to get that room to go out is that then when I am home, a lot of people they might be home every night, dude, but they're not like necessarily present,
engaged,
right?
with what they're doing.
Yeah, they're gone all day long. They see their kids for 2 hours at night or whatever.
Pick them up from school. Kid goes up, plays on the iPad, and see him for 10 minutes in a day. Most of that's in the car. Yeah.
Or it's like I was telling you, man. Like I'm up here at the lodge. I got like 30 birds to process. I've got this place to clean, and then I got to get the bungalow clean for some folks that are coming to hunt next week. I mean, it's like a day's worth of work. But I'm gonna drive back to Little Rock in the morning and get my oldest kid and come back up here, and then we'll hang out all day long. Yep. We'll she'll get to like put hands on birds and see stuff. Mm-hmm. We'll cook dinner together. Just have a good time. And
when you get that time off, you get the time off.
Yeah.
do those.
I get to like spend time with. I mean, mostly
quality time.
I'm with my family.
With your family,
you know. Like we go to the library on Saturdays. They're little, so we're not doing like these big giant adventures. But just knowing that, like, hey man, on Saturdays we go to the library and then we go and get Jimmy John sandwiches. You ever eat Jimmy John's?
Every once in a while,
dude. I think that's like a sandwich is my favorite food on the planet, man.
It's hard to beat.
Oh, dude, I love a sandwich, man, and they make a pretty good one, dude. Owned by a figure well known in the hunting world.
Oh yeah,
a polarizing character.
Yeah. Was he Africa?
Yeah. He was.
Was he an elephant or the lion?
I think it was an elephant.
The lion was the dentist.
Yeah. No, that dude's. He's killed all sorts of like charismatic megafauna, and I think
which that's an interesting world over there doing that.
It's weird.
It's kind of hard to wrap your head around how it works, but.
And I think he is like he's like super rich. He's got that FU money, right? Mm-hmm. So he can thumb his nose at convention, like people want to start making a stink about.
Yeah, what he's doing,
how he was
hunting.
To him. Yeah. He doesn't care, man. He's got more money than God.
Yeah,
off of bologna sandwiches,
Yeah, we don't, and we don't have to go into the ins and outs of how all the conservation model works over there, and I don't really have any interest in going and shooting elephants or lions or some of that stuff, but I understand people who do. And I understand how that system works, so it's hard to sit there and detract from them.
Man, I understand the whole argument with the monetization of wildlife on the African continent and preserves, and I understand that logically. I definitely don't have like any interest in like killing a lion or a rhino or any of that stuff. And it's like I would never go to wherever, South Africa, and kill a lion. Yeah. I would totally hunt a mountain lion in the US. It's not like a predator, big critter, charismatic megafauna sorts of thing. There's just all these other layers to it. But kind of speaking about that, like you were talking about, so when you're over there and you're doing these different things, and you're talking about like you might try and get a warthog or some of these like really wild antelope species. What is and this is not a gotcha. I'm just like genuinely asking you. What is that, like an experiential thing? Is it I mean to me, like the appeal of it would be that, dude, you'd be out on a landscape that you've seen in movies for your entire life, right? Mm-hmm. That is otherworldly. Seeing lots of animals, seeing animals that look like Dr. Seuss made them. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And like we talked about, like you cannot bring that meat back, but you can eat it while you're there. Like you can still like kind of get that whole experience while you're there. And you're talking about being there for a minute too. Like you're not just there for a day or two.
I'll be there for about 2.5 weeks. We're going over a couple days of hunting, a couple days of conservation work, and a couple days of fishing. Like I said, my sister and I are going over to do this trip that my mom and I were supposed to do before she unexpectedly passed away. So we're kind of going to do that with a group that she worked with closely over there for a number of years.
Are you comfortable divulging like how your mom was involved in conservation?
Yeah, so she did a lot of the communication. She was on the board for the Ivan Carter Wildlife Conservation Association. I think I've got that right. ICWCA. And he's over there, does a ton of work, does a lot with, I think Cabela's is big involved with what he does. And they move collar lines. They've moved them and reintroduced them to places that need apex predators, and they do a lot of giraffe rehabilitation. They do a lot of anti-poaching work, and they've really got a lot going on. And so she was on the board there, and she and I were going to go do a trip to see what they all have going on. And so my sister and I are effectively going to go do the trip that she and I were going to do.
So it'll be like a kind of, possibly once in a lifetime experience, but also like an homage and way to honor your mother.
Correct.
And then, I'm just thinking this too, man. So you're talking about going over there, hunting, conservation work. I would imagine you're going to take a picture or two.
Yeah, but
right?
I have a camera to take with me.
It's kind of another example of, and you know what? It makes it hit different too, right? Like, even if you just hear this idea of like just some incredibly wealthy person that goes over and shoots an elephant and brings back its tusks or whatever, right? Like, there's lots of people that feels like kind of weird or icky or whatever too, right? But going to a place to honor your mother's memory, engage in conservation work so that these animals persist for future generations, and getting to participate in this activity that's like endemic to your life and so important, right? And take photographs that last forever, right? And I'm sure you could get an article or two out of that if you wanted to, man. Like that feels very different. That doesn't feel, it doesn't strike me as exploitative. You know what I mean? It strikes me as participatory. That's cool, man. I'm glad you're getting to do that. That sounds like a neat experience, man. What countries would you be in?
I think we'll be in South Africa and Mozambique.
Oh, like totally opposite
no, Mozambique's
ends, right?
just north of South Africa on the Indian Ocean.
Oh, dude, I'm thinking.
So we'll be fishing kind of over
Morocco.
south tip of Madagascar.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. My mistake there. That's cool though, dude. So you're gonna be on the ocean fishing?
Yep. Hopefully some GTs and other fun fish.
What's a GT?
It's a giant trevally. It's the biggest jack in the world. They've got crazy videos. There's some videos of them. They were on the was it Planet Earth or one of those where they had the videos of those fish eating birds out of the air.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, how would you target those?
Depends on how they do it over there. Hopefully I do it with a fly rod.
Do you have like a special affinity towards fly tackle?
It's kind of like we're talking about. It's funny working in that world. There's so many fly anglers that kind of thumb their nose up at conventional fishing or spin fishing, and vice versa. Spin fishermen that kind of
think fly fishing.
Yeah, think fly fishing is like real uppity, and to some degree they're right. But for me, going back to like all of my curiosity, my first fishing guide job was running an inshore offshore boat, and then went up to Alaska fly fishing off of that. And there's so much you can learn about one from the other. There's things that I've learned that I do now fly fishing that I learned 50 miles out in the ocean. And there's things that I do out in the ocean that I've learned as far as bait presentations, how fish want different things. So I want to learn how to do all of it, because knowing how to do all of it is going to make me better at every single one of those things.
Yeah, that's a good attitude to have, man. I got a buddy, Drew, that's like just a bang-up fly fisherman, man. But he'll totally like take a little Zebco and like go down to the creek he grew up fishing and like catch brim.
Yeah.
It's
fun.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
That's the thing. That is fun. A bobber and a cricket can be a hell of a way to spend an afternoon. Okay, so last thing I want to bring up, if you follow me on Instagram, or you have seen my van, then you have seen this man's work as well. He's perhaps one of the best bumper stickers ever. And it says, "More people, less ducks." Will you tell me the story?
You got it backwards.
Oh, wait, more ducks, less people. Yeah.
There's not much of a story there. It was the guy that I grew up hunting with and had the farm that I had the lodge in Mississippi at for a while. He had that sticker on one of his trucks, and it just said "More ducks, less people," and had a few duck silhouettes on it. And I looked for years and years and scoured the internet and couldn't find them. And eventually, I decided, well, I'm just going to make them because I just want one that bad.
Sure.
And so, made a handful of them and just pretty much give them away to friends and people I meet along the way. And
yeah, they're cool, dude. I got I posted a picture of it when you were here last year, man, and like there was this big response.
Yeah,
to
I think
it.
you posted it, and I got like flooded with messages
Really, yeah,
about
man.
it.
When I was hunting in Oklahoma, at this dude Josh Henson's house, I looked weird in his. He had like a fridge in his down in his woodworking room. He carves decoys, and it had that sticker right there in the middle. I was like, "Oh, dude, I know you saw that on the Instagram feed and hollered at this dude." Yeah. Did you run out, or you still have some?
I got a few left. I maybe have 10 or 15 left. I need to get you some, and
dude, you got to do another run of them, man.
Yeah, I'll make a bunch of them,
dude. Because I very much feel that way.
Yeah,
I don't need any more people.
Yeah, definitely in hunting Arkansas these days.
Dude, I'll tell you what, man, there's a brutality to it sometimes. But then sometimes you get like, a day like today where you just on top of the world, man.
Yep.
And what's so cool about that too is, I mean, obviously it was like really fun for me, right? And like getting a call and work the birds, and I feel like I only shoot well like 1 out of every 4 days, and I was on it today, man. It's like when you shoot and
boom,
that thing's stone dead, and then you go to the next one. Yep. Oh, I felt great. But I was looking down the line at all the folks that came to hunt, and dude, they were all having a blast. Like they were getting to see tons of birds and get excited, and like, oh man, it really is, man. It's a super rewarding, like fulfilling experience when that goes well, especially like when you're guiding and involved in like outfitting and stuff, and there's so much stress.
Yep. And then it all goes well. I mean, I think that's what draws so many of us to waterfowl hunting to begin with. Is it's not. I mean, you can certainly go out to any body of water and throw some decoys out and hope for the best, but to do it well and to do it well consistently, it's doing your homework, and it's putting the pieces of the puzzle together. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it doesn't always work, but doing your scouting, knowing how to set your decoys, doing it, and then when it all comes together, you kind of just sit back and get to enjoy it. And that's I think that's why so many waterfowlers like turkey hunting too. It's like when you finally get that turkey to commit, it's like you've won. Like whether you shoot them or not, great hunt.
Yeah. And it's on that aspect too, man. It's like the talking to them.
Yep.
Like you feel like you don't feel like a passive participant in it. Like you feel like
you're not trying to just like sit in the corner and wait. And I mean, I know guys that deer hunting well, and they know the bedding and the fit. Like I get that deal, but with especially with ducks, doing your homework and setting everything up, and there's so much of the puzzle to put together to make it work, and then when it's done, it's really something special.
It is something, dude. You are right. Well, man, folks want to follow you in your adventures and see your work and what you're doing. What's the best way for folks to do that?
Instagram, obviously. Everybody's got to have one these days. At the Smolk Show, SMOLK SHOW. It's a nickname some buddies gave me in college because of my last name. And my website, www.johnsmolko.com.
So it's the Smolk Show.
Yeah.
But it's Smolko. Well, shit, man. Hey, dude, thanks a lot for taking the time to stop in today,
Thanks for having me.
You got a boogie, or you want to eat some dinner, or what?
I'll hang around and eat some food. I'm in no rush.
Cool, man. Yeah, we'll get some grubbage on here. Well, hey, folks, thanks so much for listening. Until next time. Hey, folks, thanks for listening all the way through to this most recent episode of the Black Duck Revival podcast. As always, it's produced by me, Jonathan Wilkins, and Brian Sachs. You can keep up with me on Instagram and on the Black Duck Revival website. The website's just blackduckrevival.com. Instagram is Black Duck Revival, is that handle. And yeah, you can check out recipes, you can check out some videos, articles, all sorts of stuff. We got Turkey Tour coming up here starting in March, and we'll be talking more about that in the coming weeks. But lots of states this year. It'll be Texas and California again, Oregon again. We'll be in Idaho. We'll be in Montana, Wyoming. Sounds like North Carolina as well, and possibly South Carolina. So lots of stuff coming up here in the spring. If everything goes right, there will also be a spring bear hunt involved in that. Maybe a hog down in Texas. All sorts of stuff. So, like I said, keep up with me there on Instagram. Tell your friends, tell your families, tell your acquaintances, tell your enemies about the podcast. And thank you so much for the support. We'll see you next time.